The ground shook as the human outpost on planet Varela was attacked without warning. Explosions lit up the sky, turning the peaceful night into fire and smoke. No one knew why the alien fleet had opened fire. The humans had come to this distant world only to study its strange plants and animals. Inside the medical dome, Dr. Nathan Cole threw on his jacket and rushed to the emergency tent. Screams and chaos filled the air. Scientists ran for cover while soldiers returned fire with plasma rifles. A small girl lay on a stretcher, her skin pale and covered in a strange black rash. Nathan had never seen anything like it. She wasn't human. Her skin was deep blue, and her eyes had golden pupils. She was an alien child, maybe 10 years old. And she was dying fast. What is this? He shouted to the soldier who carried her in. Where is her mother? The soldier, bloodied and breathing hard, replied, We found her outside the western ridge. She crawled toward us, asking for help. Said her name is Ilari. She begged us to save her daughter before collapsing herself. Nathan nodded. He didn't care who the girl was. If there was a life to save, he would save it. He pulled out his scanner, but it failed to identify the poison. Whatever was killing her came from this planet, and it was spreading fast through her blood. The dome lights flickered. Another blast shook the walls. Power was failing, but Nathan couldn't stop. He quickly opened a cooler marked experimental. Inside were vials of antidotes made from the local plant samples. None had been tested yet. But he had no time. He chose one marked sample X37. It came from a glowing red vine found near the toxic lakes. Dangerous but possibly powerful. He filled the injector and looked into the girl's eyes. She barely breathed now. Her body trembled. Her heart was slowing down. Nathan pressed the injector to her neck and released the serum. Seconds passed. Nothing changed. Then suddenly her skin shimmered. The black veins began to fade. Her breathing grew steady. Her eyes opened. She was alive. Nathan leaned back, exhausted but relieved. Around him, the battle outside began to slow. The alien ships were pulling back. Soldiers on both sides stopped firing. Something had changed. Loud, deep hum filled the sky. A ship larger than any other descended slowly above the outpost. It was shaped like a crescent moon, glowing with gold energy. It didn't fire. It hovered above them, silent and majestic. From the ship, a figure descended, surrounded by beams of light. She was tall, elegant, and clearly of the same species as the girl. Her armor shimmered like silver fire. She walked with power and grace, yet her face held sorrow. She entered the medical dome without fear. Her golden eyes locked onto the girl, who now sat up weakly on the stretcher. My daughter lives, she whispered. Her voice was soft but carried strength. You cured the poison of the night root. That has not been done in generations. Nathan stood frozen. The woman turned to him. You saved a child of the Ralvan Empire. By our sacred law, a life debt has been formed. You must now accept our vow. He frowned, confused. What do you mean? I was just doing my job. I didn't ask for anything. The woman stepped closer. Your kindness has marked you forever. In our culture, when a soul saves another from certain death, we owe them our lives. We call it the Athka, an eternal bond. You are now part of our house. The soldiers around them listened in silence. No one dared interrupt. Nathan looked at the girl, who smiled weakly at him. Her fingers reached out and touched his hand. Her skin was warm again. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know what this life debt meant. But deep in his gut, he felt something strange. As if the war had been started just so this moment could happen. As if fate itself had brought her here. The alien mother bowed before him. From this day forward, your enemies are our enemies. Your battles are our battles. And your death shall not come unless ours does first. Nathan stared at her in shock. Behind her, The great alien ship hummed with energy, ready to return to the stars. But something told him this was only the beginning. Nathan didn't sleep that night. After the alien ship left, silence covered the outpost like a blanket. The Ralvan warriors took their injured and disappeared into the mist. No one fired a single shot since the girl was healed. But questions still burned inside every mind. Commander Briggs walked into the med dome, his face tight with worry. "Nathan, what just happened out there? Did we make peace or sign ourselves into something worse?" Nathan looked at the sleeping alien child, wrapped in a warm blanket. "I don't know. But they said I cured something no one else could. And now they've bonded themselves to me. What does a life debt from a galactic empire even mean?" Briggs rubbed his jaw and sat beside him. "I checked our database. The Ralvan are old. Really old. Their culture is based on honor and ritual. If they say you're part of their house now, they'll treat you like blood. That's not always a good thing." Outside, soldiers were repairing walls and gathering equipment. The air still smelled of smoke and burned metal, but the mood had changed. Fear had turned to confusion. The war had stopped, but no one knew why. As the sun rose, a group of Ralvan warriors returned. They wore robes this time, not armor. The leader was an older alien with long silver hair and many rings on her fingers. She bowed low before Nathan and said, "You are called healer among your kind. We now call you Heartbinder." Nathan blinked. "Heartbinder? Yes," she said. "The one who binds souls by saving life. The child you saved, Ilari, is not just any child. She's the bloodline of Kareth, the High House of Stars. You did not save a girl. You saved the future queen." Nathan's legs felt weak. He sat down slowly. "I didn't know. I just saw someone dying. I had to try something. That is why your name now echoes across our starships," the old alien said. "And why your oath will shape the path of empires. You must come with us. The High Seat wishes to see the Heartbinder." Commander Briggs stood, alarmed. "He's not going anywhere. This is a science mission. Nathan is a doctor, not a soldier or diplomat." The alien turned to Briggs. "We do not ask. We summon. If the Heartbinder refuses, we consider it a rejection of the bond. That would be seen as dishonor. And dishonor must be cleansed by blood." Briggs stepped back, biting his lip. Nathan stood. "I'll go. But only if no one else here is harmed. No more fighting, no more bloodshed. That's my price." The old alien nodded. Spoken with strength. "The Heartbinder will ride with us at dawn." That evening, Ilari woke and spoke for the first time. Her voice was soft, musical, and full of emotion. "You didn't have to save me, but you did. I will protect you now. Forever." Nathan touched her hand gently. "You're just a kid. You should be playing, not making life vows." She shook her head slowly. "Ralvan children do not play. We train, we learn. We remember our debts. And we never forget the ones who heal us." The next morning, a new ship landed sleek, silent, and shaped like a dragonfly. Its wings folded inward as it settled on the ground. Nathan packed only a small bag. He wore no armor, just his usual gray coat. But he felt like he was walking into something far bigger than science. As he stepped into the ship, Ilari followed him, dressed in a ceremonial robe. Soldiers lined the walls and saluted him without speaking. The ship lifted off smoothly and vanished into the clouds. Through the window, Nathan saw Earth's outpost shrink behind him. He didn't know if he'd ever return. He didn't know if this was the start of peace or the beginning of something worse. But inside his heart, something had shifted. He had touched a life. And now that life had tied itself to him in a way he could never escape. The ship's control room was vast, glowing with strange symbols. The alien crew spoke in quiet tones. A tall woman in deep purple armor approached him and bowed. Welcome to the Royal Vale, Heartbinder. We travel now to the House of Kareth, where your presence is demanded by royal blood. Nathan looked at Alari, who sat calmly beside him, her small fingers wrapped around a carved pendant. What exactly do they expect from me? He asked softly. Alari smiled without fear. They expect you to stand before the stars and claim your place. You changed our future. Now you must see where it leads. The stars outside shimmered. The ship jumped into warp, and the light swallowed them all like a dream. The stars stretched like rivers of light as the Royal Vale moved through hyperspace. Nathan sat beside Alari, trying to understand where he was being taken. The walls of the ship hummed with alien energy. Symbols glowed softly in the air like floating glass. No one spoke loudly. The Ralvan crew moved with discipline and grace. Every motion seemed practiced. Every gaze carried meaning. Nathan felt like a stranger inside a temple built by time. A tall woman entered the chamber. Her robe flowed behind her like smoke, and her eyes were sharp with knowledge. I am Varel, High Scholar of House Kareth. You will be given history before you meet the throne. Nathan stood slowly. What kind of history? The one that began long before your Earth was born, she replied. The one written in the first stars, sealed in the laws of binding. You must know who we are, and what it means to carry our debt. She waved her hand, and the chamber shifted. The walls turned transparent. Nathan saw stars rearranging into shapes: warriors, planets, fleets. The past played out like living art. Our people once ruled half this galaxy, Varel said. But our power was broken when a disease called the Nightroot rose from the shadow worlds. It killed faster than fire. It twisted blood. No cure was ever found, until you. Nathan's heart beat faster. But I didn't know it was the same poison. I just tested something. I didn't even know her name. That is why your act was pure, Varel said. You had no reason, no reward, and still you reached for life. That act is holy to us. It created the bond, and now the House of Kareth must answer it. The stars faded. The walls returned to stone. The ship slowed. Varel pointed to the window as a great planet came into view. It was deep blue, wrapped in golden rings and glowing towers that reached the sky. This is Elion, the seat of our house. Nathan stepped closer to the glass. The city was enormous. Giant bridges hung between floating islands. Waterfalls poured from clouds. And above it all, a crystal palace floated on light, suspended like a jewel in space. The ship descended into a landing. Rings shaped like a silver flame. Soldiers in armor stood in rows. Their weapons were sheathed, their hands raised in respect. Nathan stepped out of the ship and felt the warmth of the sun touch his skin. Alari walked beside him, her head held high. Her robe had changed color, now shining gold and white. From this point, you are known by all. Every eye here sees you as one of us. You are no longer just human. You are housebound. The palace doors opened without a sound. Inside, glowing panels lit the halls. Ancient carvings told stories he couldn't read. The air was cool, filled with the scent of strange flowers. A hall opened wide, and the throne room appeared. It was massive, with pillars of blue crystal, and a ceiling that showed the stars above in real time. At the end of the hall sat the Empress of Kareth. She wore no crown, but power radiated from her. Her skin was silver blue, her eyes deep like oceans. She rose as Nathan approached, her voice calm yet commanding. You have walked the path of the Heartbinder. You have passed into our memory. Now you must accept your place. Nathan bowed, slightly, unsure what else to do. I didn't expect any of this. I'm just a doctor. I don't know your laws or your customs. I'm not sure I belong here. The Emperor stepped down from the dais and looked at him closely. That is why. You were chosen. Those who seek power are never given it. Those who flee it often carry the strongest hearts. You cured the bloodline's heir. The bond must be fulfilled. She turned to the crowd gathered in the shadows. Let it be known. Nathan Cole of Earth is now first shield of House Kareth. He may walk where royals walk. He may command where soldiers obey. And his enemies shall be our enemies. Gasps echoed through the room. Nathan's heart pounded. What does first shield mean? It means protector. Guardian, brother of the crown, the Empress said. You are not required to fight. But if harm comes, you must stand. If peace is broken, your word must be heard. And should you die, our honor dies with you. Ilari stepped forward and knelt. I, Ilari of Kareth, give my life to Nathan Cole. He is my bond, my guide, my protector. I will follow him through stars and storms alike. Nathan reached down and helped her rise. He saw the fire in her eyes and the truth in her words. A child no more. A future ruler already born from pain. The Empress lifted a golden ring from her belt and placed it in Nathan's palm. This marks you now. Keep it close. It will open doors and close wars. Use it wisely. As Nathan stood in the Great Hall, beneath alien stars, he realized his life as a scientist was gone. Something far larger had begun. A tide he could no longer escape. Nathan stood in silence as the royal hall emptied around him. Alien voices faded into the distance. The weight of the golden ring in his hand reminded him this was real. He was no longer just a visitor from Earth. He was now first shield of House Kareth. Ilari walked beside him as they left the palace. She did not speak, but her presence gave him strength. The halls outside were lined with banners bearing symbols he couldn't read. Every guard they passed bowed their heads respectfully. Outside, the sky was painted in violet and gold. Floating gardens moved on soft currents of air. A silver platform waited at the edge of the crystal steps. A royal transport glided toward them, shaped like a manta ray with wings of light. Nathan climbed aboard. The inside was smooth, warm, and filled with low music that hummed in the walls. Ilari took a seat across from him. There is something you must see, she said softly. Before the path becomes too steep. The transport rose above the city and turned toward a dark valley far from the palace towers. The lights of civilization faded behind them. The land below turned wild, filled with sharp rocks and deep canyons. At the center of the valley stood a massive temple carved into the cliffs. The ship landed without sound. Nathan stepped onto the dark stone. The air smelled of ash and metal. The sky above had no stars. Only clouds and a pale moon stared down from above. Ilari led him to a massive door made of black ironwood. This is the Vault of Life, she said. It holds the records of every healer, every cure, and every sickness in our history. The Nightroot is here too. Locked away in memory and fear, they entered the vault. The inside was cold, filled with rows of glowing crystals. Each one pulsed softly and floated in midair. When Nathan passed near them, whispers filled the air. Memories stored as sound and light spoke of things he could not yet understand. Virel, the high scholar, was already inside waiting. Heartbinder. She greeted him. You have seen the stars, but now you must see the shadows. Knowledge is your shield now. She led them deeper into the vault until they reached a chamber sealed with red light. A warning symbol glowed above the door. This is where we store the truth about the Nightroot. Not all are allowed to see it. But you must. The door opened. Inside was a small chamber. In the center hovered a single crystal, dark red and cracked with veins of green. The energy inside it twisted and pulsed like a beating heart. Nathan stared at it. That's it. That's the poison that nearly killed Ilari? Yes, Virel said. But it was not born. It was made. Long ago, during the War of Houses, one of our own tried to create a weapon that would cripple only certain bloodlines. But it escaped control and began to mutate. It now kills without reason. Nathan stepped closer. Why didn't anyone stop it? Because the creator vanished, Varel answered. And the knowledge was forbidden. Any who studied it were exiled. Until now. You used a compound from your world that stabilized its effect. That should have been impossible. He shook his head. It wasn't from Earth. It was from your own planet. We found it near the toxic lakes. It was a vine that glowed red. My team labeled it X37. It seemed promising. I didn't know it was the key. Virel's eyes widened. That vine was thought extinct, burned in the fire wars. If it still grows, then nature has already begun to fight back. But it chose you to reveal that truth. Nathan stared at the crystal. The poison inside pulsed again, weaker this time. If it can be cured, maybe it can also be undone. Not just treated, but erased completely. If I could study the plant more closely, Virel nodded. Then you shall. A team will be given to you. The Empress will grant access to the Forbidden Wilds. But beware. Not all Ralvan wish to see the poison destroyed. Some profit from fear. Ilari touched Nathan's arm. They will try to stop you, but I won't let them. You saved me. I won't let anyone harm you. Nathan looked at the child who had become his shield. Her eyes held no fear, only fire. He felt the same fire in his own chest now. This was no longer about honor or debt. It was about truth. As they left the vault, Nathan knew that forces were already moving against him. Those who had hidden. Nightroot for generations would not remain silent. His title would not protect him from their secrets, but he would face them. He was not just a doctor anymore. He was a guardian of a royal child, a symbol of ancient law, and now perhaps the only hope for a cure that had been forgotten for centuries. The journey to the Forbidden Wilds began before sunrise. A research vessel waited at the edge of the palace cliffs, shaped like a hawk with folded wings. Nathan stood on the platform, watching clouds drift below the sky bridges. Ilari stood beside him, now dressed in travel armor instead of robes. She adjusted the strap on her shoulder and handed Nathan a small data sphere. This has maps of the old forests. Places where the vine might still grow. The X37 compound came from there. If it survives, so does the cure. Nathan nodded and boarded the vessel. The inside was different from the royal transport. It was a science ship filled with scanners, lab pods, and medical bays. A team of researchers greeted him with bows and quiet words. None looked him in the eye. Virel met him in the central chamber. These scholars will obey your command. You speak, they follow. The Empress has given you full authority. But understand, danger lies where you go. Nathan took his seat as the ship rose into the clouds. Ilari stayed close, eyes scanning the windows. Below them stretched miles of untamed land-twisted trees, broken towers, and rivers that glowed faint green. The Forbidden Wilds had not seen Ralvan footsteps in over 100 years. The ship landed on a ridge above a narrow canyon. Old sensors blinked weakly in the fog. The air was thick with dust and strange pollen. Nathan stepped down carefully, his boots sinking into soft moss. Every sound was swallowed by the stillness. They moved into the canyon. The scanners began to ping. Virel. Read the signals aloud. High levels of nightroot in the air. But no signs of the red vine yet. We follow the path west. Toward the ruins of Arakdal. That's where the soil was strongest. Hours passed. The forest grew thicker. Massive roots curled around stone. Pillars, birds with silver wings watched from above. Suddenly, the team stopped. Ahead, nestled between two fallen statues, was a glowing patch of red vines. Nathan dropped to his knees. The plant pulsed with soft light. Its surface shimmered like crystal. He carefully took out a containment vial and clipped a small sample. The moment he sealed it, the vine shrank slightly, as if it had sensed the loss. He stood and turned to Varel. We need to set up a lab here. I want a full study of the soil, the moisture, and the root structure. This plant isn't just surviving. It's reacting. It's aware. Ilari kept her hand on her weapon. We're not alone, she said. Someone's watching us. Nathan looked around. The team scanned the area, but saw nothing. Then the wind shifted. A sound echoed through the trees. A low humming, unnatural and sharp. From the shadows stepped 5 figures, cloaked in gray and marked with red paint. Varel gasped. The Black Circle, exiled healers who served the old regime. They swore to protect the Nightroot's secret. They believe the poison is holy. The lead figure pointed a long staff toward Nathan. You were warned, Earthborn. Some knowledge must stay buried. You walk with the bloodline and poison our legacy. Leave now, or fall as others have before you. Nathan stepped forward. I didn't come to destroy your culture. I came to save lives. Your poison nearly killed a child. It will kill others. But I can stop it. Let me study it. The figure's eyes burned with rage. The Nightroot is sacred. It punishes the weak and protects the strong. Without it, the balance breaks. We will not let you unmake it. Ilari drew her blade. The Black Circle raised their weapons. For a moment, silence fell. Then a sudden flash lit the canyon. A warning shot from one of the guards behind Nathan struck the ground near the exiles. The Black Circle disappeared into the shadows, but their message had been clear. They would return. And next time, they would not speak first. Varel turned to Nathan. We must hurry. They will summon others. Fanatics, assassins, those who believe the Nightroot is divine. We must finish our work before they return. The team set up equipment under a rock ledge. Samples were analyzed. Data poured into the ship's core. And slowly, patterns began to emerge. Nathan watched the readings carefully. The vine responded to light, to sound, even to heart rate. It behaved more like a nervous system than a plant. Turn to Varel. It's alive in ways we don't understand. And I think it doesn't want to kill. It defends itself. But if we bond it with the right genetic marker, it might heal instead of harm. Ilari stood behind him, watching the forest. Then we must finish before the forest turns against us. They won't wait long. Nathan looked down at the sample, glowing in his hand. This single vine held the power to end centuries of pain, or bring even more if it fell into the wrong hands. He had come as a healer. Now he stood at the edge of war again. And the forest around him was no longer silent. Night fell over the Forbidden Wilds like a black curtain. The camp glowed with soft blue lights powered by the ship's core. Nathan sat inside a portable lab tent, eyes locked on the data screens. The red vine sample showed rapid changes under controlled light and chemical stimulation. He tapped a control panel. It's reacting faster now. The cells are dividing, but instead of releasing toxins, they're producing a stabilizing protein. I think we've triggered something. Maybe even a reversal pattern. Varel leaned over his shoulder. You mean the vine can now cure the damage it once caused? Nathan nodded. Not just cure. If we refine this protein, it could remove the Nightroot's effects completely. The girl's survival wasn't luck. The plant adapted. It saw her as one of its own. Ilari stood guard at the tent entrance. Her eyes never stopped scanning the trees. The memory of the Black Circle's warning still weighed heavy in her mind. If they know you've made progress, they'll attack soon. They won't let you leave with that cure. Nathan looked up. Then we need to transmit this data back to the palace now. Even if we fall here, the cure must survive. Varel activated the uplink tower. A beam of light shot into the sky, carrying encrypted packets of information toward Elian. The moment the signal locked, a low tremor shook the earth. Lights flickered. The forest stirred unnaturally. Alarms blared. The soldiers rushed to defensive positions. From the dark trees came movement silent, swift and deadly. The black circle had returned. This time, they brought others. Shadows with glowing eyes and weapons forged in forgotten places. Defensive ring. Ilari shouted, "Protect the lab at all costs." Nathan stayed inside, his fingers flying over the controls. He sealed the sample and dropped it into a deep core vault beneath the floor. If they destroy the lab, this sample stays protected. It'll survive impact, heat, even time. Blades clashed outside. Energy pulses lit the forest. Ilori fought like a dancer made of fire. Every move was perfect. She guarded the tense entrance without fear. But the enemy kept coming. Virel activated the tense energy shield. "We're running out of time. We must fall back to the ship. If we don't leave now, they'll overwhelm us." Nathan grabbed the vault and secured it to his suit. "We go together. Stay close. Ilari, lead us through the West Ridge. It's narrow. They can't surround us there." The team moved quickly. Virel carried the portable core. Soldiers covered their backs. Ilari sliced through two attackers with perfect precision. Every step was planned. Every breath was survival. They reached the ridge, but the ship was still far. Suddenly, a shadow dropped from above. One of the Black Circle leaders landed before Nathan, his weapon raised. "You would trade our sacred curse for peace. You shame us, Earthborn." Nathan stood firm. "A curse that kills children is no blessing. You hide behind tradition while your people die." "That ends now." The attacker lunged. Ilori blocked the strike and countered. Sparks flew. Steel rang through the air. She moved like lightning, never hesitating. Within seconds, the attacker fell. The rest of the shadows paused, uncertain. Virel raised her hand and shouted, "He carries the bond. He carries the cure. Touch him, and you declare war on the House of Kareth. Are you ready for that cost?" The Black Circle hesitated. "There." Leader stepped back. "This is not over. You have awoken something that should have stayed asleep." They vanished into the forest like smoke. Silence returned. Only the sound of distant thunder remained. The team reached the ship and lifted off. The wilds fell away beneath them, but the danger had not ended. Nathan sat beside Ilari as the ship sped toward the palace. He looked at the sealed vault in his lap. Inside it, the future waited. A living answer to a centuries-old wound. Virel joined them. The Empress will want to act quickly. If this data holds true, we can begin trials. We can mass-produce the protein. The night route will no longer be a weapon. Ilari smiled faintly. But the Black Circle will try again. They don't care about truth. They only care about power. Nathan closed his eyes for a moment. Then we take that power away from them. We show the galaxy that life matters more than fear. That healing is stronger than death. The ship entered palace airspace. Royal cruisers formed a protective ring around them. As they landed, medics and scholars rushed forward. The Empress herself waited on the steps, her face calm but alert. Nathan stepped down and handed her the vault. "Inside this is the cure, the real cure. Grown from your soil, found in your wilds, but discovered by chance and risk. It belongs to your people now." The Empress took the vault with both hands. "You have done more than heal. You have rewritten history. Your name will live in our stars for generations." Nathan looked to Ilari. Her armor was scratched, her lip bruised, but her spirit unbroken. She nodded silently. The bond between them had grown stronger than blood. The Empress raised the vault above her head. "Let all houses hear. The night root shall poison no more. The healer has become the hope, and the bond shall never be broken." News of the cure spread across the galaxy faster than light. From distant colonies to ancient star stations, the name Nathan Cole echoed through every system. Some praised him as a savior. Others called him a danger to the old balance. But none could deny that the Nightroot's grip had been broken. Inside the palace of House Kareth, the great hall overflowed with visitors. Delegates from allied worlds arrived to witness the presentation of the cure. Nathan stood at the center beside the Empress, dressed in ceremonial robes with the golden ring of First Shield glowing on his hand. Ilari stood at his side, wearing the royal crest on her armor. Though still young, she held herself with confidence. Every noble knew she was the future ruler. Every warrior knew she had faced death and stood tall. And every child across the stars now saw her as a symbol of hope. The Empress raised her hand and the hall fell silent. Today we honor the Heartbinder, not with gold or titles, but with the truth. He has given us more than healing. He has returned to us something we thought lost forever. Choice. Nathan stepped forward. This cure doesn't erase history. It doesn't change what's been done, but it gives us a way forward. The Nightroot doesn't have to be a curse. We can turn it into a blessing, a medicine, a symbol of unity instead of fear. Cheers filled the hall. The vault containing the stabilized compound was placed in the Hall of Stars, guarded day and night. Production facilities were approved. Medical stations were supplied. Hope became real, but deep within the old chambers of the palace, shadows gathered. The Black Circle had not been idle. Their spies whispered through the cracks of power. And in the silence of forgotten tunnels, plans were set into motion. Ilari was the first to sense something was wrong. As she passed the armory, she noticed a missing weapon, one only used by elite guards. She asked questions, but answers came slow and cold. Some servants avoided her eyes. Some guards grew silent when she entered. She went to Nathan's chamber and found him reviewing new research logs. "Something is coming," she said. "They won't let this cure spread without one final strike. They're planning something. From within, I can feel it." Nathan stood. "Then we find them before they move. We go to the source. The ones who still protect the old ways." Varel joined them in the chamber. Her face was pale. "One of our inner council has vanished. Scholar TRN. He was last seen near the Echo Vault. That place is sealed for a reason. It holds weapons designed during the Great Silence." Ilari drew her blade. "Then that's where we go. If they've broken the seal, they mean to do more. Then protest. They mean to destroy." The three moved quickly through hidden passages beneath the palace. The air grew colder, dust hung thick. As they neared the Echo Vault, strange pulses shook the ground. Energy not seen in centuries hummed through the walls. They found the seal broken. Inside, ancient machines had awakened. Floating drones circled. A tall figure standing in the center of a glowing circle. It was Scholar Tyran. His eyes glowed red with injected power. The Black Circle had used him as a vessel. "You brought change too quickly," he said, voice echoing. "You ignored the old voices. The Nightroot is not a disease. It is the test of the worthy. You failed that test by curing it." Nathan stepped forward. "You don't understand what worth really means. It's not pain. It's not death. It's the strength to protect life, even when it's easier to let it die." Tyran raised his arms. The machines activated, weapons unfolding. A countdown began on the wall. The vault was set to release a new version of the Nightroot, programmed to spread across the palace and beyond. Ilari lunged, her blade slicing one of the drones. Virel used a pulse shield to block the energy blasts. Nathan rushed to the control terminal, typing commands faster than thought. He found the core protocol. It was locked with an ancient code. "Give me time," he shouted. "I can stop it. But not if I'm alone." Ilari blocked another blast. "You're not alone. You were never alone." Nathan bypassed the encryption. Heart pounding, the final code blinked red. One wrong move would trigger the release. He took a breath and entered the sequence Ilari once whispered to him as a child's prayer. The system froze. Then silence. The drones fell. The lights dimmed. Tiaran collapsed, his power drained. The release was stopped. The night route, in its deadliest form, had been sealed again. Guards arrived moments later. The Echo Vault was resealed. With stronger codes, Tiaran was taken for judgment. The Black Circle's final attack had failed. Nathan stood in the vault, breathing hard. Ilari placed a hand on his shoulder. This was their last move. They won't rise again. Not after this. He nodded. Then we've won. Not just the cure. Not just the bond. We've won back the right to hope. Weeks passed after the Echo Vault was sealed again. The Palace City began to breathe in peace. The cure had been distributed across 5 systems. Hospitals reported full recoveries from the night root toxin. No new deaths were recorded. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy rested. Nathan stood in the royal gardens, watching the twin suns rise over the crystal towers. The vines that once held poison now grew in small domes, trimmed and studied. They no longer harmed. They healed. The transformation was complete. He reached down and touched one of the red leaves. It pulsed gently beneath his hand. "You were never meant to be feared," he whispered. "You just needed someone to listen." Behind him, Ilari approached with a datapad in hand. She wore a new crest on her shoulder, now fully recognized as crown heir of House Kareth. "The Empress wants to speak with you," she said. "The final ceremony begins soon," Nathan smiled. "I never asked for ceremonies. I didn't come here to wear rings or sit in halls." Ilari tilted her head. "You didn't ask, but you earned them. Our people follow those who act when no one else will. They follow courage. You became that without meaning to." They walked through the city together. People of all kinds bowed as they passed. Not just Ralvan, but delegates from other species. Former enemies now stood side by side. Peace had formed from the act of a single cure. Inside the Great Hall, the Empress stood at the center of a silver circle. Around her were the leaders of science, healing, and law. Nathan stepped forward. His coat bore the golden trim of the first shield. The ring on his hand glowed softly. The Empress lifted her voice. "Let all present hear. The Heartbinder has fulfilled the bond." He gave his hands to science. He gave his courage to war, and he gave his soul to truth. "Let this be written in our stars forever." She turned to Nathan. "You are free of obligation. The debt is paid. The bond has been honored in full. From this day, you may choose your own path." The hall grew silent. Every eye watched him. He stepped forward and bowed. "I accept the closing of the bond, but I choose to stay, not by duty, not by debt, but by will. This place is home now." A cheer rose like thunder. Ilari stepped beside him and lifted her hand. "He stays not as shield, not as servant, but as equal. Let it be known, Nathan Cole is no longer just a healer. He is now part of the royal blood. A true member of House Kareth." Later on the palace balcony, Nathan looked down over the floating gardens. The wind carried the scent of fresh leaves and distant oceans. Virel joined him, holding a crystal tablet filled with new medical designs. "We've begun adapting the X37 protein for other diseases," she said. "It's not just the night root. That plant holds keys to more than we dreamed. This is only the beginning," Nathan nodded. "Then we build something bigger, a center of healing. A place where every species, no matter their world, can come to learn and share." Virel smiled. "The Empress has already approved the plans. We'll call it the Heartbinder's Core." From behind them, Ilari spoke. "And when I take the throne, it will become law, no more secrets. No more fear. Just science and strength working together." Nathan turned to her. "You're ready. You've seen war. You've lived the weight of peace. You'll lead better than anyone before you." She looked at him with steady eyes. "Because I had a teacher who showed me how to fight without hate. How to cure without conquest. How to stand for something more. That night, the skies of Elion lit with celebration. Ships danced in formation. Lights filled the stars. From the farthest moons to the deepest stations, the galaxy remembered the journey of a single human who crossed into the unknown and brought something forgotten back into the light. Nathan stood with Alari as the sky burned gold. No more warships, no more whispers in the dark, only healing. Only bonds born not from blood, but from choice. A voice spoke across every channel, the voice of the Empress, clear and proud. Let this be the age of healers. Let this be the age of unity. Let the stars remember the bond, and may it never be broken again. Nathan looked at the stars, not as a visitor, not as a guest, but as one of their own. And for the first time, he felt truly home.